EmKay, one question haunts and hurts.
Too much to mention.
Hello, listeners, and welcome to Top Oz Fandom Podcast, Down the Yellow Brick Pod, in our 7th season. Too much to mention because we are still at it. I'm Tara.
And I'm EmKay, and we are your royal custodians meets Connie and Carla of Oz, preserving and peeling back the curtain on the wonderful world located somewhere over the rainbow and its perseverance in culture.
Join us tossing open our textbooks and grimoires as we fall down fresh new rabbit holes this season.
You may find us hanging out with Elphaba's granddaughter in Gregory Maguire's Another Day series.
Or taking a detour, second star to the right and straight on to morning.
Or chasing Judy Garland-size rainbows.
Or perhaps providing our L. Frank to be exact, analysis of Wicked for Good. Don't be offended.
In addition, we will also be conducting interviews with Ozian delights in our Slipperhood, Good Witch, and Masters Behind the Curtain series. Stay tuned for a magical lineup of guests.
The Wizard of Oz has been with us, like so many of you, since our earliest of memories, and now in adulthood, it's gotten us through some frightening times. And friends, we have such faith that it will continue to do so.
Off the pod, please say hi to us on Instagram and TikTok, and consider joining our Patreon Pod Squad if you haven't already. Exclusive content and community events and bonus giveaways, oh my! We live to spoil our Patreon fam, and they are the first to receive all official Down the YBP updates, including discounts to live shows, merch, and our annual retreat. Sign up today with a free week trial at any tier. Your support makes the pod's dreams that we dared to dream really do come true.
Now, may the world of Oz continue to be a bewitching escape in bewildering years, nostalgic and nuanced, and keep on changing us for good. To Oz, EmKay.
To Oz. Angelo Thomas is a writer and filmmaker dedicated to making the world better through visual storytelling and democratic politics. Angelo's films can be found on Amazon Prime Video, Apple TV, YouTube, and other streaming platforms worldwide. He recently launched his first comic book, Somewhere, a contemporary reimagining of The Wizard of Oz that grounds the fairy tale in the emotional journey of a child longing for home. Angelo lives in Columbus, Ohio, where in addition to his creative endeavors, he works in local government and politics. Welcome, dear listeners. EmKay here. We're in the same space. This is rare. Yeah, this is rare. I guess if you're not watching the video right now, you wouldn't know that. But we are in the same space.
Yes, with a red lip background.
A red lipstick background.
Which
but
feels appropriate.
It's very correct. We have a very special episode today. For our comic book lovers out there specifically, who doesn't love a Wizard of Oz retelling in comic book graphic novel form? I know I do. So today we got your back. We are joined by the writer of Somewhere, the brand new contemporary Oz reimagining comic book that will take your imagination on a whole new journey through the story we all know and love. So here to tell us all about it and the process of creating this brand new comic is Angelo Thomas. Welcome, Angelo.
Hi, thank you for having me. Very excited to talk to you all.
Yes.
Love your Wicked shirt as well. I
And
just noticed.
Where are you
Thank
in the
you.
world, Angelo? Where are you?
Yes.
I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Love
Ooh.
Columbus, Ohio.
We went there on tour.
We were there on tour,
Yeah.
and it was one of my favorite cities.
It was fun.
Mhm.
It was a
Oh,
good time.
nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So we know you're an Oz collector, right?
Mhm.
Do you have like
Yep.
a niche that you collect, or is it kind of just like general Oz? Follow up to that question. What is an item
Two-parter.
from your collection? What's an item from your collection that like encapsulates how you're feeling today?
Ooh.
It could be like something, oh, like this is my favorite piece, or this is nostalgic, whatever,
Like I don't
whatever you
talk
feel
about this one enough.
called to.
Yeah.
Two-parter
Yeah.
question.
Okay, great question. I do not have a niche. My collection's actually a lot smaller than it used to be. I sold about 60% of it to, there's an Oz museum
Come
in
on,
Indiana.
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oz
There's an
Museum
Oz
in Indiana.
Museum. It's in, I think, LaGrange, Indiana. It's like
Stop.
What's
sort
it
of
called?
near, it's called No Place Like Oz, I think. Um,
I
What?
don't know
We
this
have to
one.
yeah.
go.
Oh,
We have to go to Indiana
Yeah.
now.
all right.
But
Well,
I sold a lot of my collection because I was like moving from a house to an apartment and I just like didn't have the room for it and it was stressing me out.
Yeah.
But it was actually nice to like curate like what I wanted to keep. And so like wouldn't say I have a niche. I'm definitely not like a doll person. Love books, love media. Like I
the book.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
books, all the media, love
That's
that.
me.
And then anything that's like a little, if it's like a little bit off kilter, like a little strange, I love it even
We
Same.
more.
like that. Something a little
Ooh, can you tell
out
us
of
like an
left field.
example of a little
Yeah.
strange? Because I love a little
Yeah.
strange as well.
Yeah. So there's that Off to See the Wizard like hand puppet.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yes.
that is so strange. And like people always ask me about that one when they see it. Um,
Like,
there's
what
also
is
the Off
this?
to See the Wizard Jack in the Box that I have next to that.
Are these from
Um,
Nice.
1939?
no,
Like
Old school.
they're from the 50s.
50th?
It's from there
50th.
was that
Okay.
Oh,
like
50s.
animated like Chuck Jones animation. They were like
Oh,
little
it's
things that
from
aired on TV.
that.
Yeah,
Love.
those are cute.
Nice.
And then the piece that I was gonna pick for the second part of your question is I'm terrible at describing things, so bear with me. But it's like a picture thing that is like animated. So it's like in a frame. It's
Oh.
pretty bulky and it is like tied into the 1939 movie. No idea when it released, but you press a button and it's almost like a pop-up book. And so like it plays sound and it like
Cool.
the characters like move and stuff and it like the Emerald City like lights up. I wish I had like researched this before so I could like give you a more
Wait,
I
that
precise
know.
name
sounds
of what this is.
amazing.
But it's
If you
really
want to
cool.
send it to us too, we can add it
Send
and
us
like
photos.
overlay it onto the.
We'll
Okay.
throw it in the
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
throw it on the gram.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because that sounds
Yeah.
incredible.
It's really cool.
I
Yeah, it's
love
pretty cool.
that. Okay, so you're like an animated pop-up storybook today.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
good.
Okay, so we have to hear a little bit more about what made you the Oz person that you are. What's a little bit of your Oz DNA, your earliest influences that you can remember, what has walked with you down your yellow brick road till now?
Yeah, I think I first discovered the movie probably when I was 3. So I don't have a distinct memory of like the first time, but I have lots of memories of watching it on VHS, that like 1998 edition, which is also when I was born. In my
Come on, 90s
uh,
baby.
yeah, in my grandma's apartment on like her tiny little TV with the VCR. And I would like rewind certain scenes over and over, trying to figure out how it was done. So I consider myself a filmmaker first and foremost. And so I think it's interesting that even at like 3, 4 years old, like I understood that what I was watching was constructed and that it was a film. And like I wanted to figure out how it was done. So I would like rewind The Wicked Witch, like disappearing from Munchkinland and like trying to like see
That
if I
is
could
so
spot like
crazy.
what was going on. Um,
Whoa.
and so I became obsessed with it. I mean, I was like the Wicked Witch for Halloween probably 5 years in a row as a kid, and then every other character
Iconic.
at some point. Um, and then discovered the books, discovered Wicked. I saw it for the first time in 2009 on tour. I knew nothing about it, like not a thing. So it was cool. And I had like I was in the first row, which was cool. And so to just get
Mm.
to like go in blind and discover like a whole new Oz story was really cool. But yeah, I was collecting as a kid, and still collecting now. I'm a lot more careful about what I buy, but still a collector. It's still what you see when you come into my house. Which like
Really?
my partner and I recently moved in together, and whenever one of his friends or family members visits, they're always like, "Whoa."
Okay, you weren't joking about the
I
odds
yeah,
at
I
all.
think there's a
Right.
whole podcast that could be created for the partners of people who love Oz.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like what that's like for them to live with a lot of color in their
Mhm.
life, you know?
Right. It's been really fun. It's been really fun to introduce him to Oz. We went to the Sphere together and saw The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere.
Yeah.
So
So
fun.
Um,
fun.
yeah, we saw Wicked for Good 4 times in theaters together. And
Oh,
then I've been showing
so
him,
It
okay.
sounds like
He's
he's a
like,
fan.
he's on
yeah,
board.
it's serious. Yeah.
I don't even think my husband's seen it more than once. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a huge part of my life, and it's really cool to get to be able to put something of my own out there now that joins the Oz
Yes.
canon.
That's
So cool.
awesome.
So cool.
And then what role did comics animation, like we were hearing a little bit about your Oz animation love, what role did that play in your childhood or your reading when you were a kid?
Yeah, well, there's a long history of Wizard of Oz comics, as you all know. And I was growing up around the time of like the Marvel, Eric Shanower, Scotty Young
Yes,
I was gonna
series.
ask, yeah.
And so like when those were coming out, like every weekend or however often they came out, my I would ask my mom to take me to this comic book store, which was like 30 minutes away, so not ideal, but I had to get them. And I think I've always struggled with reading, with like attention span and really comprehending what I'm reading. And so comics were a fun way for me to get to, like I'd read the Oz books, but were a cool way for me to get to see the stories in a different form. And I think especially as an adult, like I love stories and I love storytelling, but I still struggle with reading, sitting down and like reading a novel. So I've really gotten into audiobooks and graphic novels. And
awesome.
that's kind of been the way that I like to still kind of, scratch that itch or itch that scratch, whatever that
Totally.
expression goes,
Yeah,
of reading.
That's
love
awesome.
that.
Highly support it too.
Yeah,
And I feel that way. We talk about, I think there's been like a resurgence too in the Oz world of graphic novels, of comics.
specifically.
I feel like this keeps coming up, but I think it is one of the best ways to introduce new people to the world of Oz too, because of our attention spans. This is, I think, across the board. I think everyone is, needs, I think, a little bit more help these days.
And
Like
it's good to have like a visual too.
I have an audiobook
Yeah.
usually and the book in front of me these days, just to
Yeah.
be like, I'm
Mhm.
I'm
here.
fully
This is
here,
where I'm at.
fully immersed.
So supporting you on the reading journey because it's
hmm
reading. All of this is reading.
Yeah. Love that. Cool. Okay, so now let's get into somewhere dot dot dot. I'm obsessed with the dot 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 because you just never know
Thank
what's
you.
about to
A little
happen.
ellipses, little
Yeah.
mystery.
So, when did you first decide, like, I'm going to take this property that I love, Oz, and I'm going to create my own graphic novel? And how did you kind of decide, like, what perspective
Put
you
it in our
wanted
world.
to
Yeah.
approach it from? It is modern, it is contemporary. What were the first seeds of that process for you?
Yeah, I started writing it a little over 3 years ago. It actually did not start as an Oz thing. I wanted to make a film about the experience of having an incarcerated parent as a child, which is something that I
Wow.
experienced and had never seen represented in media. I was thinking
Wow.
Mm,
about when I was a kid, I loved The Parent Trap and Mrs. Doubtfire. And as an adult, I
Right.
think like why did I like those two movies in particular? And it's
Oh,
because in both of those films, you have children with divorced parents. And despite all the wackiness and comedic elements of those movies, at the end of the day, I think there's a message of, your parents can get divorced, but things can work out and they still love you. And that might actually be for the best for your family. And
mm,
that was really comforting to me because my parents were divorced. And so I thought, like, what would it have meant to me as a kid to have this type of representation of what is it like to have a child, to have a parent who's incarcerated and not know what's going on with them and not know when they'll be back. And um, what would it have been like to have some hope, from the media that I watched. So that's really where it started. And as I started the very early process of writing it, I found that there were a lot of themes that were similar to The Wizard of Oz, because I knew I wanted to have a child running away from home to go find their parent, and they take it upon
hmm
themselves to figure out what's going on. And just that idea of a lonely child thinking that there's something else, better for them out there. There's a different maybe meaning of home. Just felt right to me. And The Wizard of Oz played such a big part in my childhood that it just made sense to kind of infuse it into the story and to also use it as sort of a hook for, you know, getting people to be interested in it. So it felt really organic, oddly, and I feel like it started to come together pretty quickly. I originally wrote it to be a film, but
Ooh,
have struggled to get the funding for it. I've had success getting like grant funding in the past, but with economic conditions being what they are, I feel like funding
yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
arts
We
is
know.
always the first to go. So have not been able to get the funding, but I wanted to get the story out there in some other way. And so first I thought maybe I'll write it as a book. But then the idea of a comic I thought was really interesting because it allows me to fully visualize the story so that if I still am able to make it into a film
It's like a
someday, I have,
storyboard.
right, I basically have
Yeah.
the entire thing laid out already and I can really visualize the story. So decided to go that route, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think the artist Rebecca Butterworth did a really great job. I got to
Yes.
meet her for the
Love
first
the
time
art.
recently,
Oh my
and
gosh.
yeah, I'm really happy with it.
How did you find Rebecca?
Yeah.
How did that work out?
I found her on Reddit actually, which is where I find a
What?
lot of like creative collaborators. I just
No
kind of put out
way.
And tea.
You
yeah,
get lots of tea on Reddit.
Lots of tea on
My
Reddit.
fiance's obsessed with reading all the tea.
yeah,
Did you put like a
Wild.
call out on Reddit and then people chat
yeah.
it in a thread?
People submitted like portfolios, and I thought hers was really striking. She had like a really strong use of color, I noticed throughout her portfolio, and I was kind of already flirting
Mm,
with this idea of using color very sparingly. I
yeah.
That's kind of just how I visualized it, kind of making it like sepia tone and then having these
Mm.
little color elements throughout that kind of
That was
add
one of my
a
favorite
feeling of
parts.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I
Yeah,
thought she would do a great job at that, and she did.
there's one specific element, we won't give a spoiler
Yeah,
for what
no
it is, that
spoilers.
is in full color, that is pretty magical.
So
That is
Yeah.
good.
that is awesome. Can you talk a little bit about the development of the characters that we get to meet in your world that you've created, or who they are? Like give us like an introduction to these characters.
Yeah.
Sure. So our protagonist is Dorothy. So this version of the story follows 11-year-old Dorothy Gale. She runs away from home in rural Ohio to find her estranged father, who she believes is in Columbus. And along the way, she meets a couple of friends, Ray and Nick, who help her summon the heart and courage and wisdom that it takes to face the truth about her father, which is that he's incarcerated. And so Ray and Nick are both sort of Scarecrow and Tin Man stand-ins. Obviously, the names of the characters themselves are Easter eggs in different
Yes,
ways.
Right,
yes, yes,
right,
Um,
yes.
right.
and then, I've had some questions about like, why isn't the lion represented? And I would say that the idea of the lion is represented in bravery, and
Mm-hmm.
facing your fears. But actually, there's also a history of the lion kind of not making the cut for especially some of the early like silent
You
film and stage
know, sorry,
adaptations.
Lion. Yeah, you're like,
So,
I'm basing this on the Broadway, the original Broadway.
Well, he was
right.
like there, but he was
He was
quiet.
there, but yeah, wasn't at the same level
This this
as
is
Mhm.
Scarecrow
no
and
Burt
Tin Man.
Warner. No.
No starring
Yeah.
moment.
That's
Got it.
great.
And then she also her mom is a nurse. And she lives with her mom. Was your
Right.
mom a nurse? I'm curious.
No, she wasn't. But
Okay.
my mom is Hispanic. I'm half Mexican, and so to be able to also represent that part of my life is cool. I think that plays into the loneliness that Dorothy feels, I would imagine. We get a little sense of what life is like at school for her, and it really seems like she struggles to make friends and open up to people and fit in. And I think that is probably the experience of a lot of, immigrants who are in small towns in the Midwest. I grew up in Kentucky, so I can sort of relate to that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I thought it would be cool to add that perspective to it as well.
That's awesome.
Something I forget is a theme of Oz, and I'm going to connect this to the times we're in right now, is that this young girl goes out into the unknown. She doesn't quite know, she knows where she's going, but she doesn't quite know how this is all going to come about. And there are men that she stumbles upon on this path. And I think, we both were saying this to each other because of the times we're in, it's so hard to see young girls with older men and not think that they're going to do something terrible to them. And
Mhm.
it's beautiful to see the opposite representation, that it's not all men who are terrible
Right.
to young
Sure.
women. Has there been any grappling with that in your mind now, especially with everything going on from the Epstein files and just like all these like I don't know. I feel like it's like every day we're finding out there is abuse in some institution happening with like younger women or women, or not even younger women, children. That's like the
Yeah.
whole,
Right.
I'm like basically stating the whole problem that's been happening. What do you think is maybe important about seeing these kinds of relationships where there could be trust from a younger girl with older men? They could have fatherly,
Figures.
yeah, they could offer protection and warmth, and they're not going to harm her.
Mhm. Yeah, part of the way I thought about it is, when I was a kid, I feel like I was terrified of stranger danger. And I think it really made
Mhm.
me sort of an anxious, like shy kid who was scared of going to the bathroom by myself somewhere or doing anything but myself, really. And I think there's some value to teaching kids about not talking to strangers and, safety. But I think it maybe went a little too far for me at least and had a kind of negative impact on me socially. And so, and I think we still see some of that now with like helicopter parenting and things like that. But I kind of like the idea that there are certainly bad people out in the world, and I don't advise letting your kid run away,
I mean, she did run away. Yes. I
Yeah.
don't
yeah,
think her mom would support what she did. Yes.
right.
Right. Her
But
mom was
I
freaking
like
out. Yeah.
I like the idea of, reminding people too that there are good people in the world who want to
There are
help.
Mr. Rogers
And
out there. Yes.
right,
Yeah.
people who care and have good hearts and want to help you find your way, whether that is a man or not. And yeah, I thought there was something, sweet about that. I try to stay, I am very involved in politics. That's what I do professionally. And so it can be easy to kind of get, bogged down and lose your belief in people and in the inherent good of
Mm,
people. And so I think stories like this are nice as just reminders that, like, there are good people out there. There are good strangers out there. And sometimes,
yes.
um,
Yes.
those interactions can lead to something really meaningful.
I don't think there's anything better when you have a really good interaction with a stranger. It always feels
Yeah.
magical. Like there's been some magical intervention. I was supposed to meet this person, like
Your
Right.
world
whatever
like opens up,
it
your
might be.
worldview a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. Yes.
Yeah. Appreciate that. So you were mentioning the artwork by Rebecca Butterworth,
Great
Mhm.
I found on Reddit, which I'm obsessed with.
name.
So what was the collaborative process like? How did this come about? I know you mentioned kind of like the color, used sparingly, but other sort of designs for the characters. I know you mentioned your dog is in the book, in the comic.
Yeah.
But like any other just kind of creative elements that you discussed during the process.
Yeah, I gave her the screenplay to start, which was pretty descriptive. And we started with character designs pretty early on, because I had a very specific idea of what the characters looked like to me, down to like certain actors that I thought they might look like, just as sort of a frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, there are certain details that had to be right. Ray is a black man. He's a farmhand in Kansas. So, there are things like that that needed to be right. The skin tone of Dorothy and her mother, needed to be representative of what I had in mind. But I also wanted to give her space to interpret the story the way that she saw it. So there were certain things along the way that she would send to me where I was like, oh, that's not what I had in mind, but I like it more, what you did.
Yeah.
And there's, there are Easter eggs that she snuck in there on her own. Like at one point, um, there's like a bag of Twizzlers that is changed to Twisters.
I saw
And
that.
yeah, and she just snuck
There's
that
a
in on
lot
her
of
own,
good
which I thought was really
details.
clever.
Yes.
So
That took
she
me a
has a
moment. I was like, wait, whoa.
yeah, and of course I wrote a lot of Easter eggs into it as well, but
Yeah.
it was the best collaborative process I've ever had, as
Oh,
a
great.
creative person. It was just so natural, and I feel like she really understood what I was going for. I think the main note that I gave her early on was I really wanted to convey this feeling of, when you're a child and you're out in the world on your own, everything feels so big. The world seems so big. I remember as a kid one
Yeah.
time, I lost my mom in a Walgreens, which is such a small
The
store. But
worst.
to me,
Yes.
Yes.
it seemed
That's a
ginormous. I was like, I
city.
I
can't
remember
Yeah.
find my
that.
mom.
I'm lost forever now. Goodbye.
I
And so,
got that. I've been there. I got lost
I'm,
at Sesame Place, which is a theme park in
oh,
mm,
Pennsylvania.
that's
On a lazy river, I just
no.
started going like it split, the
It
lazy
was
river.
lazing away.
Well, I fought for my own tube. I was
And then
like
they were like,
3.
this is
And my
why.
mom was like wanting to do the shared tube thing that you could do on the lazy river. But I fought for my own tube. And I think
Regret.
maybe she was teaching me a little bit of a lesson. We split.
Watching you. She like knows
Oh,
where
she
you're
knew.
going. Yeah.
She knew. We split and I went down and I just saw her nowhere. And I remember this stranger man. I
mm,
started screaming. He picked me up. He's like, "You're okay, you're okay." And he took me to a lifeguard, but I was panicked, but a stranger man.
And
oh,
she's like, I see you. You're
My
not
mom was literally
you're
like,
not far from
"That's
me.
my kid." Like,
No.
but I panicked.
Yeah. I've been in the
I
wow.
still
Walgreens.
remember that feeling of just looking and seeing just like lots of water and all these people who I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
Mhm.
every kid's like one of their biggest fears, and you see it conveyed in movies of like kids, either running away or getting lost or being in Kevin McAllister, Home Alone. All
Right.
Alone, where you're like,
Not his biggest
is
fear.
this me now?
His
What
biggest
happens
dream.
next?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a specific illustration? You kind of mentioned of like, oh, that wasn't really how I saw it, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Was there an illustration that just like knocked your socks off? And you know, if it's a spoiler, you don't
Hmm.
have to tell us, but just a moment that felt like a lightning in a bottle moment.
Yeah. There's a scene early on where Dorothy is in her bedroom and she's looking up at the ceiling, and there are these like glow in the dark stars, which I was always fascinated with by
Yes.
as a
Love those
kid.
stars.
And
Hmm.
there's one that glows green. And I thought that that was just that green is just very striking. And I thought it was just beautiful composition and just completely nailed what I was looking for without me really having to
Hmm.
give much direction. I thought she made it even better than what I had in my head.
So
And
cool.
then
I
there's
loved
a
those
panel.
stickers too as a kid.
Oh
Like
yeah,
when you go to the
I had
planetarium
those.
on the field trip,
Yeah.
it's like you come back with those stickers to put on your wall.
Magic.
Yeah.
And then there's a panel towards the end that has the final color element. I don't want to spoil what it is, but that one I think
Yeah.
is really really special, and that's one that she,
Yes.
really just kind of did on her own that I thought was really great.
So
Sneaky
good. So
sneak.
good. She was like,
Hmm.
I know what to do
I
here.
also just love the like Dorothy's school jumper.
It's so
Like how
cute.
Mm.
it feels like a school jumper resembling the gingham. It's so
Hmm.
sweet.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
this would translate well to a costume
totally.
Mhm.
completely.
I one of mine is her mom when they're fighting, her little eyebrow that goes up. Like, what did you just
Yeah.
say? I was like, this looks like an expression my mom would have made as a kid.
It really does
Yes,
feel like a
totally.
play.
Yeah,
It does feel like more like a play than even like I could envision this and feel like
totally.
I'm a part of it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Mm.
How can I ask like some technical questions? Just like
Sure.
how, since you weren't in the same space as you were collaborating on this,
Yeah.
what does that look like? Like, are you in email threads? Do you have like a chat that you use? How does that all look, just for people who are curious about maybe collaborating with an artist and how to get started on that?
Yeah, I've worked with artists before and it's always been different. Sometimes they'll want to like kind of do a Zoom type conversation to really like get into the weeds on things.
Mhm.
Um, but with Rebecca, it was all email. And so we have like this email thread that has like 400 something emails in it
I was gonna
probably.
say it's
Yes.
gotta be
Archive.
so
Yes.
many.
Yeah. But she was, very easy to work with and just got it. She just understood what I
Cool.
wanted. And that doesn't always happen. I've worked with composers and, editors and in the film world, other types of collaborators. And sometimes it takes longer to get there and to really understand what the vision is. But she got it, very quickly. And it was a pretty seamless process. I think it took about maybe 7 to 8 months from the start. And
That feels quick.
um,
It would take me a
yeah.
year to draw one illustration, so
Yeah, she nailed
she's
it.
a
And
profession.
and I
That's
didn't realize she
great.
lived in Ohio
Oh,
until she sent me the invoice at the end of the process. And I was like, "Oh, you live
she's
Yes.
like
like
your
2 hours
neighbor.
from me." Yeah.
We have to be in
Yeah, you
Yeah.
person.
said you met in
Sure.
person later.
Yeah, we did a little book signing the weekend
That's
after it came
amazing.
out,
Wait,
and
that's
she
so
came to Columbus,
fun.
and we just got to chat for a couple hours, which was great. Have a ton in common. We both love the Muppets, which I feel like
Love.
there's a lot of Wizard of Oz Muppet,
Yes.
we're the same
There's a
Yes.
people.
lot of crossovers. There's
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Disney, there's the Muppets, which is honestly now the same.
Right, Disney.
right.
There's like there's a lot of different like nerdy
Yeah, that you
crossovers within the
can
Oz fandom,
mix
which
it
I
up
love.
with.
Golden Girls we've discussed. A lot of
Everything.
the
Mm, yeah,
elder
Anything.
Ozians, they're Golden Girl people. It's really
sure.
fun.
Girl.
Love it.
I love it. It's so cool.
Okay, we have to give a big shout out to one of our favorite people in the Oz world, Jay Davis,
Woo!
who is just
We
the
Mm.
love you, Jay.
sweetest human you'll ever meet. And
Oh,
he's
Yeah.
acknowledged as giving additional story material. How did you meet Jay? Tell us more about your relationship with Jay Davis and why did you bring him into this project?
I would love to. He's probably my best friend in the Oz community.
Stop.
yay!
I have known
Right.
him
Because
since
I knew you.
2007.
2007.
Oh my
Jay
Yeah,
has
so
been
gosh.
around in the Oz world.
Jay
oh
is,
yeah,
we
He's
also
like
say, the
foundation.
original podcaster in Oz.
He's our
Jay
first one.
Davis.
He's
that's
our
right.
first, and
Jay
he's our
Davis.
first Patreon, right?
He's our first Patreon. He was the first, like
And yeah, OG
we put it out in
podcast.
the world, and he was the first
And
one
he
to
was
be there.
there.
He is no words. He's just an
So
amazing person.
we love him.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
2007.
2007, we were there.
Yeah, so I was online probably way earlier than I should have been in my
Yeah, I
life.
was gonna
And
say
He's like,
so
really?
you were
Not
like
10?
9,
yeah, I was like it's like 9.
a little bit
And
bit.
back then the International Wizard of Oz Club had a message board. This was sort of before social
Love
media was
message
really as
We
board.
much
love
of
a
a thing.
message board.
I miss a
And
message board.
Where like 2 months
yes,
later you could go back and be like, here's my
It was
response.
yeah.
Reddit.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
Reddit
Reddit.
of its time.
Yeah.
True. There's something magical about like not having that like super instant response and having to
Oh
like
yeah.
refresh and see if someone replied to what you posted. But that's really how I started to meet Oz fans and even how I learned that there were Oz fans out there. You know,
Hmm.
I didn't know there was like a community of people who loved The Wizard of Oz. And I learned so much about the different other iterations of Oz that were out there beyond the ones that I knew about. And Jay, I feel like kind of like took me under his wing pretty early on and like let me be a
That's
guest
very
blogger
Jay.
on his blog. And so if you,
Stop it.
there's quite an archive of me as like a 12-year-old, you know, writing about Oz the Great and Powerful or whatever was happening at that time.
Of
Um,
course.
Yes.
Of course.
What did you
and
think? I want to know your thoughts on
Yeah.
that film.
I loved Oz
Like,
the Great
'cause
and
you,
Powerful when
We
it
get a
yeah,
first
because
came
you were
lot.
out.
how old? You were like 13, 14? Like you're a child.
15. Yeah, 15.
You're a
Don't make him so
child.
young.
And so it was
So
the,
you
I mean, it
liked
was
it
the
when it came
first,
out,
yeah, it was the first Oz
of
movie to come
course.
out in my lifetime. And so it felt, you know,
That
in
was mine
theaters.
too.
And so it
See, I
felt,
think honestly for us too, though, right?
yeah,
But we were
since like
not
Return to
15.
Oz,
We were not
probably.
15, and we were not
We were like
15.
55.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no,
No.
I don't, yeah, I don't think there was anything as big as that
Probably
within
not.
our
Not in like
lifetime.
theater.
I mean, I was more alive than you were for the
You
50th
were more
anniversary.
alive than I was.
I reaped in those benefits of
You
the
were
50th
close
anniversary.
to Return to Oz.
I was close
You
to
were
Return to Oz.
close.
Very
Uh,
close. Just a little ahead.
Way before your time,
Way before your
Angela.
time. Way before your time. That's so cute. I love that so much. Jay has a
yeah.
fantastic blog. We'll link it in our
Oh
show notes.
yeah.
It's wonderful. That's so
Yeah.
great.
Love.
So then what did you want him to help you with this story?
Yeah, so I was originally writing it to be a feature film, which for a screenplay that's like 90 to 100 pages is usually what you're aiming for there. And the most I could get it up to on my own was like 40. And I was really struggling with this, and I was like, I had written things with him before, and we had like exchanged writing, and he's also a really great writer as well, very imaginative. And I was like, look, I was like, I'm tapped out. I've been staring at this way too long.
Good
I have
for
no more
you.
ideas. I can't fill it in
Capacity.
Go
anymore.
to phone a friend
Yes.
Right. I was like, please just look at this and go crazy. Like, just add whatever you
and
think
I'm
Help.
makes
sure
sense
he
to
was
you.
like, yes.
It's
Yeah, I was like, just see what we can do.
like a
And
book
the most,
doc.
yeah, the most that we could get it up to was like 60 pages, I think. Because
Okay.
the story just didn't seem to call for a longer length. And
Yeah.
so that was a really helpful process, though, because it kind of made me realize that, oh, I actually think this would be better as a short film or as a shorter form story. And so he added a lot of really fun elements, specifically between Dorothy and Ray. A lot of the really sweet, tender moments between those characters came from him. There's a part where she like whispers a secret to the scarecrow, which I just think is so like innocent and sweet, and that was his idea. So there's a lot of like little things that he added that added magic, and just there's sort of an Ozian feeling to it, like the innocence and the sweetness and the
Yeah.
the belief in good, that you know things are good. Um, so yeah, he was really helpful, and I ended up cutting it back down after we got it up to like 60 pages. So a lot of what we wrote did not make it into the final cut, but it was still really helpful, and he added some Oz, also some Easter eggs that were pretty clever, came from him. So
That
yeah,
feels
it's
right.
good.
That feels
Mhm.
correct.
I love it. And that was going to be my follow-up
Yeah.
question.
Oh.
Easter eggs that you have in
Yeah.
here. I'm going to say my favorite, which is
Okay.
when Ray is trying to guess
Oh yeah.
Dorothy's name. He's
That
like,
was
is
Yeah.
so
it
good.
Judy? Is it Diana?
Diana,
Is it
Stephanie.
Stephanie? It's really, really
So
sweet.
cute.
So
Yeah.
this book, I think I would need to read it again to probably catch all of them because
Oh
it's
yeah.
littered in little tiny
For sure.
details. You have to really have that thinking cap on when you're looking at it. Is there a favorite of yours or maybe a hint for one that you'd like to share for our listeners
Mm.
who are immediately going to go out and get
Yeah.
this book?
Well, I love that Ray trying to guess Dorothy's name, I think is great. And
So
one that
funny.
most people haven't picked up on, but I think it's because most people that I've talked to who have read it are not Wizard of Oz fans. So they don't recognize the
Mm.
names and maybe why that's um an Easter egg. I love the bluebird, just the visual of
Yeah.
that and sort of what I feel like anytime I see bluebirds all the time. And whenever I see them, I'm just like I don't know, it makes you stop. It makes you think like, is there something magic happening around here? Like I really have had this feeling throughout my life of just like, I'm not a religious person, but I've had a lot of moments in my life of feeling like there's just magic around. And there are sometimes little like moments that remind you of that like maybe, the universe has your back and there's magic out there. And I wanted to convey that in this book, even though it's set in Ohio during the Great Recession and like it's not a small town, like it is very grounded, but I thought it would be great to like convey that like there's still magic around. You just have to look for it. And that's why a lot of the little magical moments happen when Dorothy's not looking. The scarecrow winks as she walks away. The star glows right after she's like basically given up hope that this is going to work out for her. So there are kind of moments like that where I think we can miss a lot of the magical moments if we don't look for them and really pay
We're not
attention.
open to them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel this way with Oz.
So good.
Like anytime I see anything that's like a little bit Ozian, like in my day to day, I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like it's like a little like
Like on Saturday, we
love
were out and
that.
about at the No
Yes.
Kings protests, and we go into this thrift shop, and we're like, in between rallies.
Yeah, we were
In
walking to
between.
a rally.
Yeah, it's like, why are we going to thrift shop?
Thrifting.
Yeah, I was like, in between. We're walking to another one. We're like, oh, let's go in there real quick. And literally the first thing on the wall is a photo of Judy
It's like
in
an
Oz.
art piece created around
And
it.
we're like,
It was
literally
really
the
cool.
first thing we see. Like, this feels,
Yeah, it just made me, I
we're on
don't
the
know,
right track.
like an exhale too. There's something really
Yeah.
sweet about
It's
that.
peaceful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. And
So
then
good.
especially like who would you say is your target audience for this? Because you're saying like you wrote this for you as a kid, not seeing representation with having a parent who's incarcerated and what that looks like. Who do you want to have pick up this book? Other than Oz collectors.
Other than, yeah, everyone listening.
And our thieving
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, I mean, it's like super specific, but I do think children of incarcerated parents. I've had some conversations with local organizations here that do a lot of work with families
That's
that deal with that.
awesome.
Really cool.
And so getting it there to those types of kids would be great. But I think even just for all kids, I think the more that you understand about other people's experiences, the more empathetic and compassionate you are as a person. And
Mhm.
so, I when I was a kid and my dad was incarcerated, I felt like none of the kids at school would understand if I talked to them about it. I was afraid to tell people about it. And so I think for kids to get to, learn about other people's experiences, I think from an early age makes them better people and makes them able to connect with other people more. And so even if, you're a kid who has never had a family member incarcerated. Like I think just to learn that that happens and this is how it affects a kid, this is how they might feel, this is how lonely they might feel. I think that even if the kid doesn't realize it, I think creates a sense of empathy in them for that experience, and that's what I try to do in my work. If you look at the films that I've made and this comic book, they all have some element of trying to open up people's worldview and get them to understand a different experience, often a struggle, but another experience. And I think that just makes people better. There's probably a more eloquent way to say that, but I think I feel like my mission is trying to make the world a little bit better, also trying to make people better. And I think that films and media and books can play a huge role in that. And
They
not
do.
to like use those things as like propaganda or anything, but I think there are ways to infuse that into storytelling and to open people's, eyes and in ways that I think can make a big difference in small ways.
That's
So
beautiful,
well said.
Angelo.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think so much about like the media that I digested as a kid and how I was raised. Like I really am so grateful for the makeup that I had because I often was encouraged to read about people who didn't look like me.
Yeah.
And that was great. I don't even know where I maybe from school and my parents, but I
Mhm.
always gravitated towards books about like I can't see myself in this world. Like almost the opposite of what we see often as as a bookseller now. I see often like kids wanting
Like,
to see
oh,
themselves, which is
that's my
also great.
story.
Which
Right.
is also great. It
Right.
needs to be, I think, a bit of both. And I do think in these times that we live in, like it's such a muscle exercise for empathy and just
Yeah.
realizing like I just had the awareness as you're speaking. I don't think I knew anyone who's grown up with a situation that you were in as a kid.
That we knew of.
Yeah, I that did not come into my childhood at all, and that it is a reality for so many kids, and
Yeah.
how to have conversations, and as opposed to judge or whatever. I think this is also beautiful. So I
Yeah.
just want to commend you for creating something really cool and flavoring it in the world of Oz.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it really goes to show like you can take a very specific personal experience and like bring it back to Oz and use Oz as a way to like
These are
convey
my
that story and
favorites.
process those emotions. And yeah.
It's making me think of Brian Quijada's piece. Do you know who
Quijada.
Brian Quijada is?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Former pod
We are honored
episode
that we had
attendee.
him on the pod. So he's now the star of this amazing play called Mexodus that is like riveting everyone off Broadway.
Mhm.
Probably going to go to Broadway.
2-person
Yeah.
show.
But anywho, one of his first pieces that he wrote,
Somewhere Over the Border, I
Somewhere Over
think.
the Border, and it is using Oz to tell his mother's immigration story
Somewhere
to
Over the
America.
Border. Mhm.
It's beautiful and like one of my favorite conversations too. I think this is the way to use Oz too, because
Yes.
especially for people who maybe have difficulty reading outside of what they like, it introduces something completely different to them too, which is just great. We'll keep
Yeah.
commending that.
Yay!
Yeah.
Brian, we love you. We love Jay Davis. We love Brian. Everyone.
And Angela.
Yeah.
And Angelo, of course. So we can shout out that you will have an event at Books of Wonder on May 16th. Hello, friends. A quick note. The event at Books of Wonder has been rescheduled to Sunday, May 17th at 2 p.m. in New York City.
I think
So
we're graduating that day, but
Sarah
everyone
might
stand
not be
by.
there, but Angela will be there sharing all about this
Yes.
comic. And you can buy, where can readers purchase your comic?
Well, on the Books of Wonder piece, I will not be alone. Danielle Page, who is also a friend of the pod, I believe, will
Friends
be there as
pod.
well.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And she has a
really?
beautiful quote on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, she's been super supportive of me since I was like a teenager. I actually interviewed her
Stop.
on
I'm
Jay's
so
podcast
sad.
when I was in high school.
Stop it.
So she's amazing, and I think she has a new edition of her books that are
She's
at Books of Wonder.
always
Yes.
that
She has her
thing.
UK editions. And also she said something a while back in an event we had saying she wasn't done with Oz. So I was like,
I believe it.
okay.
That woman does not stop writing.
She doesn't, she keeps going. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like eat, breathe, write.
Yes.
Get it,
Right.
Danielle.
She's writing for TV nonstop too.
So good.
Like she's just
Mm.
consistently going. That's
Okay,
so
well,
awesome.
y'all go to Books of Wonder on that day.
Yeah.
Right.
So Danielle Page with Dorothy Must Die, and then Angelo Thomas with Somewhere.
Mhm.
Awesome.
So listeners can purchase the book there.
Yes.
Is there spots online, other spaces you'd like to point people towards?
Yeah, you can get it from Amazon, of course. Barnes and Noble. Books of Wonder is where I would recommend buying it. Even if you can't make it to the signing, if you
Yeah,
order
we'll
it
have
from the
them.
Books of Wonder website, you can get
Yeah.
it. It'll be signed because
And I'll
I'll be
kiss
signing
every
some
copy.
copies.
I'll kiss every copy.
Whether you want that or not, it will
Yeah,
be kissed.
you'll get it.
Yeah.
Great. Love that. And yeah, I would also love to hear from people who read it. Like,
Yeah.
I just love hearing people's reactions to it. There was a young woman who reached out who's about to play Dorothy in a production of The Wizard of Oz in Charleston, I think South Carolina, one of the
So
Carolinas.
cool.
And she is, I believe she's Black or mixed race, and she reached out saying how important it was to her to see a Dorothy that looked like her, that had her same complexion. And
Oh, wow.
that was so special to me to just receive that, Instagram DM. So yeah, I just love hearing from people who check out my work and seeing how they connect with it in different ways. So would definitely encourage anyone listening. Yeah, I'm super reachable on social media. So definitely encourage people to reach out and tell me how you connected to it, what you thought of it, if there are any Easter eggs that you love. I think that's what's so great about putting things out in the world is letting people respond to it. And you have no idea who it's going to reach or what it's going to mean to them. And
Yeah.
even though like I, create stories on a much smaller scale, I'm self-published. My films are all pretty small. I still have had a lot of those experiences, and those are always energizing, and they make me feel like what I'm doing matters, and um, yeah, it's really encouraging. So
That's really special.
Can I
yeah.
share one little
So
tiny
good.
tiny thing before
Share it.
you ask
Share
me a
it.
question? You just made me think of this. I recently finished reading Sarah Polley's memoir called Run Towards the Danger. Do you know who Sarah Polley is?
No.
She's incredible. So I was obsessed with her when she was a child actress on The Road to Avonlea, which is connected to the Anne of Green
Crazy.
Gable franchise. But I didn't know, thanks to my Canadian dear friend Derek, that she has gone on to become like quite a prolific writer and director, Academy Award winner. Like I have no
Wow.
idea that she's like still in the industry. She wrote Women Talking and directed that movie that came out a couple years ago that is absolutely amazing. And she's gone through a lot of traumas in her past as a child actor, and that's a lot in the book. And she acted a little bit like into her adulthood, but eventually was like, I'm good. This is not what I want to be doing.
Sure.
But she was doing a film, and she had a lot of really bad experiences as a kid of being forced to do things she was freaked out to do, but just, having to do it anyways, no one really checking in with her safety. And there's a scene, she did some movie where there's like lots of explosions and she got hurt.
Ugh.
And so there was a scene in this upcoming movie as like an adult where there was explosions and things going off and she was starting to visibly shake.
Mhm.
And the director was like, I see something's going on, and asked like what she needed. And he was like, do you need me to show you what you're gonna look like in this? Like I'll walk you through it first. And she's like, I think that actually would help. So he does it and shows how safe it is. And then she goes to do it. She's still shaking. He was like, we're not gonna do this. And she was like, no, 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 no. Like I don't want you to lose the scene for the film. And he was like, Sarah, in a year from now, we'll be lucky if two people are talking about this. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, what we'll remember is like how I handled this situation and made you feel safe. That's I'm gonna remember from this. And what I want us all to feel as like a cast and crew is safety, magic, all the good things. I don't want to force you to do something that you don't want to do. And that you just reminded me of that. This whole like to touch just a few people is literally winning because like the world moves so, so fast. And I don't know, that all just came right back into my brain where we're doing such like these take up all of our lives when we put ourselves into anything that's creative.
400 email threads.
400 emails.
Right.
And then that's why it's always so good, y'all. If you are touched by something, just reach out to the person who made it. You have no idea.
One DM.
It could be, especially if it's years later. Like I think that's even better sometimes just to come out of the blue.
Yeah.
With it. But yeah, just wanted to share that little story because that has stayed with me from her book.
Yeah, reach out. I will link all of the ways
Yes,
to find you.
Bombard Angelo.
Thank you.
Find Angelo.
Yes. Make his
So
box
good.
explode.
So good. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Angelo, for
Yeah.
coming on the pod today. Listeners, readers, comic book lovers,
Yes.
if you've never read a comic, whatever it might be,
Yes.
go grab your copy. So, Angelo, we end every episode with every Slipperhood episode, which you are a part of the
Yes,
Slipperhood.
welcome.
With the same question. So the question is, it's another two-parter. We're ending
Okay.
the way
I'm ready.
So the question is, if you could design your own pair of the slippers, what would they look like? What kind of shoe? Are they silver? Are they ruby? What's going on? And what would they empower you to do?
They would be ruby, just because I think they just look better. I think Victor Fleming knew what he was talking about, or
Yeah, I think
whoever suggested
MGM.
that.
Yeah, MGM
They are
said the
right.
same.
Yeah. So they're gonna be ruby. I'm thinking like a Chelsea boot, but with a heel. I need a little bit. I need a heel
Love
because
a
I'm
Chelsea
Yes.
boot.
I'm 5'8", but I'd like to be 5'10". So let's make sure there's a
Okay.
heel.
Throw it in there.
Are we
Um,
sparkling? Are we sparkling? Just like
oh
with
yes,
teeth.
yes, yes,
Okay.
There's
absolutely.
sequins. Great.
And then I think the power that they would have is teleportation because
Yeah.
I hate driving. I'm such a bad driver. Lord, so bad.
This is an efficient
Jenna,
solve.
like you can vacation
Dun.
wherever you want.
Right.
Don't have to fly.
Yeah, would love that.
No commuting.
Yeah, I'm sure I could think of something maybe more meaningful, but that's always top of mind.
That's
No,
great.
Like I
No,
wish
all
I could
answers
just
are
do
welcome
that.
here. Because then the less time you have to drive, the more time you have to make the world a better place. So
This is
that
correct.
is the meaning.
It's for mental health.
Yeah.
tell
And I'm looking out
people.
for other people's safety as well on the roads.
Not being on
Keep
the
me off
roads,
the
yes.
roads. You all are safer.
Get this. Get Angelo off the
I
roads.
love
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Angelo. This has been so much fun.
Yes.
Thank you, listeners. Always
Yes.
love a literary comic episode.
this cover also just
Yeah.
makes me get in my VHS feels for the 50th anniversary. It's
It
like
really
the
is
same
Yes.
so well
blue
done.
color. I
Mhm.
love it
The
so much.
rainbow, our puppy that we
Yeah.
love.
There's nostalgia
Yeah.
in this, but also something new, which is my favorite
So good.
thing about Oz, new Oz pieces.
Yeah.
So everyone go
Yeah.
out and get it. And thanks again, Angelo.
Thank you all so much for having me. It's been great. And your love of
course.
Oz is just like, it makes me love Oz more. Like I just,
Aw.
you all have so much joy and like enthusiasm for Oz that I think is really special and
Aw.
invites other people to join and become a part of it too. So thank you for what you all do. I think it's really special.
Shucks, folks.
That's very
I'm
sweet.
speechless.
Oh, shucks,
No, that's so
folks.
sweet. Thank you.
And it brings me
It
even
brings me
more
more
joy
joy.
to
Yeah.
like meet you.
Yes.
I mean,
Especially now.
it brings
Yes.
people together. So
Yes.
yeah, so special.
Yes. Can't
Thank
wait to
you.
meet you in person someday, Angela.
Yeah.
Thanks, listeners.
Thanks, listeners. Thank you so much for listening to Down the Yellow Brick Pod. We love linking arms and skipping with listeners like you.
A special thank you to our Patreon Pod Squad members who have become our Found Oz fam all across the globe. If you'd like to join, follow the link in show notes for more info.
Again, you can catch us on the socials and on Etsy serving up some merch, all linked in show notes below.
And lastly, if you are feeling the pod and looking for a free way to support us, consider leaving us an Apple rate and review. Each Apple review also equals an entry into our full-out, no marking, end of the season giveaway, fit for any level Oz fan.
As always, all previous reviews will also be considered in our entries. If you've been with us since 2020, oh, we see you.
Thank you, Ozians. We'll see you over the rainbow soon.
In a clock tick.